Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So, have you been paying attention to the news? Have you invested in yourself? Did you have a good day? I did. I had a ridiculously good day. An even better evening. So I doubt tonight's show will be busy. Got some good news with the family today, so be celebrating that. What do we have? It's Friday night flips. So whatever goes. However I'm feeling, take me up on it. Maybe there are questions you have, go ahead and ask. Doesn't mean you'll get an answer, but it does mean you can ask. I just hope that we don't get too many stupid questions. Anyway, Palantir. Yeah, that company. $375 billion market cap. Yeah, they beat out the likes of Home Depot and Procter & Gamble. They're in the top 20 companies out there. So not bad. Cornell Robinson, Captain Banana, and Paula Mortimer. How are you and have you invested in yourselves? I know Paula has. I know Captain Banana has. And Cornell also confirms that he has. That's some good stuff. That's some really good stuff. This Palantir thing, though. Palantir, what was it? Their stock rose like what? 100 some odd percent this year. Over the past year, government contracts have grown like 45%. Yes, if you're going to ask me, yes, I think it's a scary company. I think it's a very scary company. It's not the only scary company, but I do think it's a scary company. Joseph Shalom, former BlackRock digital assets executive, joined SharpLink Gaming as its co-CEO. So if you look at the tentacles of BlackRock, BlackRock's tentacles reach far, not just through investment, but also through their alums. A lot of people that work at BlackRock work at other organizations that give BlackRock ties to that organization. Yeah, the connections run ridiculously deep and ridiculously long. I pay attention to little things like this. Why? Because did you see the position that this person has? A co-CEO? That's not a small thing. That's a big thing. And why did you choose that person to be a co-CEO? Well, because they have experience that probably nobody else in the world has, or very few in the world have, right? Because they've been at BlackRock. They understand how that engine works. They probably come with a big, fat, long, deep-pocketed Rolodex. I've been paying attention to SharpLink for SharpLink Gaming for the past little bit. You've got to have reach to get somebody like that to make a move like that. Just saying, pay attention to these things. Now, another subject that came up, I'm not the only one talking about the Genius Act and how we're basically just renaming stablecoins to be CBDCs. Senator Elizabeth Warren is like, and I know a lot of people don't like her. But I'm seeing people on both sides of the aisle look at the Genius Act and kind of be like, yeah, that's not necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily a good thing. And then I was reading another article. Notice how I talk about connecting dots and things like that? I was reading another article where they were talking about, well, how long will it be before banks realize that they're going to have to collaborate? Because remember what I said. Up here, collaboration happens. Down here, competition happens. These banks aren't in competition. They're not in competition. They need each other. They absolutely need each other. So that's going to be something. That's absolutely going to be something. So I am paying attention to, well, Who's going to do what? How are they going to do it? How do you get that interoperability between all the banks, right? So a bank might create its own stablecoin because they don't want big tech to create stablecoins. They want banks to do it, but still. So do you create a stablecoin? Do you kind of settle on a stablecoin? Or do you say, yeah, we're going to have our own stablecoin, but we're all going to use a system based on blockchain, but similar to Swift? You see what I mean? So there's a lot of collaboration that has to happen and they all know it. And it's because money has to move between the banks. More importantly, there is a mechanism for money to move between the banks. More importantly, there needs to be a mechanism for money to move between the bank's customers. Aha. So yeah, there's a lot in that space. There's a lot of maturation that has to happen. So I am paying attention to things like that, like who's doing what, how are they doing it, what kind of conversations are they having, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. History repeats, possibly. And how you doing, Hutanic? Have you invested in yourself? Then you've got crypto adoption is accelerating as users prioritize financial autonomy. People are looking at how it's not necessarily anonymity, but it is autonomy. Big difference. But still, people are looking at that and people are starting to understand. And for those people that aren't starting to understand, they're seeking knowledge. They are seeking knowledge. So to me, it's kind of a big deal. I don't know about you, but I am paying attention to stuff like that. Then you've got movers like Litecoin, surpassing 300 million transactions in 2025. 300 million. I told you. This is happening. Hey, Max, thank you for letting me know. This is happening in a major fashion. One country I know out there, bank accounts, all the citizens, and issued its own digital currency. This is tyranny. I've never heard of tyranny. I'll have to do some research on that. Thank you, Captain Banana. I'll have to do some research on that. I've never heard of tyranny. What else is there? Ethereum has taken a dip, but not, it's taken a shave. Have you noticed that? It's taken a shave, but it didn't really dip. I mean, it's back up to 37.19, right? Even if you look at Solana was all the way down to like, what? I forgot. It went down to like 180. I think I saw it at 180 at one point. Bear with me. Let's go to 1 day. And it was as low as 176.5. And it's already back up to 186.63. I don't think people have really been paying attention to it as much as they should. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, that whole Rico thing, you never know. Yeah, Rico hates you. I mean, Siri hates you. You and Siri, I think you guys need a little intervention to sit down, have a conversation. Is there something for me to show? There you go. My guys are still working. And yes, I asked them if there's something for me to show. But I'm looking at the general market. Tyrant's tyranny. Oh, okay. Tyrant's tyranny. I think a lot of people are going to get hoodwinked. I think there are going to be ways for people to have to figure out how to get around them. Yeah, what's going on, Lex? Thank you for letting me know you're investing in yourself. I think there's a lot that's going to have to happen for it to work. I think stablecoins are going to be a problem, and I'm hoping that, there are other coins that can be used. The whole problem, I think, becomes, well, can you move stable coins without the oversight? Like, can stable coins be blocked from traversing certain areas? Like, it's going to be nuts. If they go too far with stable coins, you're going to see people just, I mean, what can you do with a stable coin? You're going to see people drop stable coins. That's going to be hard to do because you figure it's fiat and companies are going to have to deal in fiat until companies start to say, yeah, that's not working for me. It's another way for countries to control fiat, and fiat's one of those things that a lot of people are getting away from. These are facts. So yeah, I am paying attention to this stuff. Wow, I'm looking at BNB at 784. Remember, its all-time high is only $20 away at 804 that it set earlier this week. Just saying. You can't get out of the system. At this point in time, I don't think you can get out of the system. You'd have to create a completely new economy, and that's not there yet. Will it be? But it's not there yet. You've got to be able to get paid. You have to have resources that will accept what you have as payment. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those things where I don't know if governments are going to be able to control the movement of value. I don't think there's going to be a single government that will be able to control the movement of value. So that's going to be a thing. Right? It's not going to be a single coin that's going to do anything. I think it's going to be groups of people, a network of people that are going to say enough is enough. Here's how we're going to have to do it. Sort of like a shadow economic system. Sort of like you have in, jail. Cigarettes are the value. There are certain things that are of value. They carry value. They carry weight. And if you have it, you have it. You don't, well, it's as simple as that. It really is that simple. So you start to realize, how things can move, how things can be maneuvered. But I think a lot of thought is going to go into, people not leveraging stable coins the way these governments think that people are going to leverage stable coins. And then you have to stop and think about, who says I have to use a stable coin based on your fiat? And that's when you really start to think about, how does that work? Governments around the world are really going to have to rethink things. And currently the way they're thinking about things is, we're just going to keep squeezing, not realizing that everything's coming out between the fingers. It's like when you have an egg in your hand and it's just like that. It's just like that. So yeah, I'm looking at things and I'm just kind of like, time will tell. I mean, nobody's talking about stable coins like that, right? They're not talking about stable coins. They're talking about how Bitcoin is going to hit $1 million. How Ethereum is going to hit this number and this one's going to hit that number. And they're not talking about stable coins. And when you really stop and think about it, you think to yourself, do I really need a stable coin? I don't really need a stable coin. They only need to know how something is denominated. Like, what's its value against this? That's the way I think it's going to wind up going. And stable coins will wind up just being another coin, because if a fiat falls, the stable coin falls, right? If the fiat is worthless, the stable coin is worthless. And there's the rub. They're so concerned about stable coins and they're not thinking about it like that. I am. If your fiat sucks, the hell am I going to rely on your fiat for? Why do you think BRICS has such a problem trying to figure out, well, which one is going to be, what kind of fiat are we going to have? What kind of thing are we going to have? Like, they can't have jack because they can't figure it out. Chinese yuan. Chinese yuan is like what? What are you going to do with that? Some are accepting it around the world, but then they still have to flip that to something else to work with these people and all. So wait a minute, why are we doing that when we can just go to Bitcoin or Ethereum or, Cardano or whichever other coin everybody's using? Makes you stop and think. No, the whole point about stablecoins is that they're not. They're based on a fiat, and the fiat's going to fail. That's the point that I'm making. There is no euro's going to be the best. The dollar, the dollar stablecoin is going to be the best. The ruble stablecoin is going to be the best. Nah, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have a lot of fiat around the world that's hurting, and they're being devalued. The U.S. dollar's dropped 10% thus far this year. The most in 50 years. Since we got off of gold. So you start to realize, oh yeah, that's right. The whole conversation was about stablecoins. The stablecoins aren't going to matter if your fiat sucks, if the underlying fiat sucks. UST. I vaguely remember UST. Very, very, very vaguely. I don't follow stablecoins, so I just don't care about them. Yeah, no, I have no history on UST. Nothing. I wouldn't hold stablecoins. They all have weaknesses. The reason I tolerate them is because they play a critical role for our bags. Kind of, sort of. Right? Kind of, sort of, because you might be able to find a place where you can swap directly to another coin instead of dropping into a stablecoin and then going to get the coin that you want. Now, on initial purchase, maybe, if you've got an on-ramp fiat, you'll probably on-ramp it to a stable coin. Although, you can on-ramp it to any coin, depending on what exchange you're on, and then leave the exchange. Leave the exchange by way of a swap. Because then what do? You're literally leaving the exchange by way of a swap. Ta-da! I don't know what OP means. So, I don't know. But I'm not looking at stablecoins as being the end all. I'm looking at stablecoins as being a way to digitally track the failure of fiat around the world. As soon as countries start recognizing crypto as having value, or even go a step beyond that, crypto as being money. Imagine if the moment governments say, we will accept crypto as payment. Yeah. Your fiat immediately goes to shit. Immediately. Because as soon as the government says it can accept fiat, that's impetus for all companies to start paying their people in crypto. Like, what? Oh, well, we only accept Bitcoin. I don't care. It's going to be impossible to just accept Bitcoin too. It will be absolutely impossible. They'll figure out that, oh, we need to collect this value, however we need to collect it. And there you go. Oh, well, we'll only accept stable coins. Really? Good luck with that. Governments like to collect money. And if there's going to come a point where they're going to have to collect money or collect value in any way they can. Just saying. Short-term intermediary, yeah, I don't need that, but surely understand how you would use them as a tool. Yeah, they're just tools. Everything is just a tool. Get your mind out of the gutter. Similar to the way I treat doctors, lawyers, etc. Yeah, they're tools. Everything is just a tool. A means to an end. A means to an end. But I think a lot of people need to do research on, what the future could look like. What are the possibilities of the future? Notice how, I really try hard not to use, the term money, but value. We're moving value, right? What's that value? Well, that value could be a tokenized stock. That value could be a fractionalized piece of real estate. We're moving value, and we're giving it a common denominator, right? And we can calculate that denomination by stablecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. You can do the calculations. The calculations will be done for you. You'll be able to say, well, translate that into this, please, because I don't have any of those other coins. I have this one. I gave you an example many times that, overseas you have stores and businesses that accept various fiat and will give you change in various fiat. That's been a thing for a long time. So it's just a matter of, well, how does that translate? How does that translate? Right? And pretty soon, what you spend on a loaf of bread in France, somebody will say, oh, I spend this amount of money on a loaf of bread. You won't even have to calculate it because it'll be in a coin that you're familiar with. Oh, it's 0.005, ETH. People will be like, oh yeah, okay. It's a little expensive, but I pay like, 0.004 for bread. But then again, it's French, so, blah, blah, blah. It depends on how your value is denominated. But I'm looking at the whole stablecoin situation, and I'm kind of like, well, they purposefully did not want tech companies to create stablecoins. They want banks to create stablecoins. Why do you want banks to create stablecoins, or them to be basically the only ones that can do it? Well, you want them to be able to do it because you want to keep the financial system under your control. Why do you think why Circle has filed to become a bank? There was an article a little while ago out saying that all of the stablecoin issuers are probably going to want to become banks. That puts you underneath a financial umbrella as a part of the traditional financial system. So you'll be running your stablecoins like dollars. And it's kind of like, that's not really what people want. Yo, Babo, thank you for letting me know you invested in yourself. That's what's up. I hear what you're saying, Hutanic, about that, but I don't know that it's not going to be one. Everybody keeps pointing to one coin that's going to do it all. It's not going to be one. It's impossible, especially for Bitcoin. Because even in sats, it'll be impossible for Bitcoin. People are not going to want to have to think about it like that. Yo, Turtle Bitcoin, what's good? So you'll be thinking about it's simple math. When you open up your wallet and somebody says, this is good for blah, blah, blah ETH, and you're going to zap it with your wallet to see the calculations. It'll all be right there. You won't even have to think about it. It'll be like, oh, okay. Let's see what that is now. You'll just be rewiring your brain to think in a different denomination or denominations. You'll correlate things by their value. Well, this is the price of eggs here. This is the price of eggs here for whatever coin there is. And then you'll start to see how that works, and it'll become second nature, just like everything else. Oh yeah, no, what I mean is What I mean is the number of decimal points, the decimal places and things like that. Right. But like I said, I just told you how you would do it. You're not even going to worry about that. You're going to have your app and it will tell you, oh, well, this costs X amount of value. And that's whether you denominate it in this, or this. Which coin or which, now here's what's funny. Which coin or group of coins do you have that will equate to this value? And your wallets won't pull. I think of things as being, more advanced. I think in the future, your wallets won't pull from a single coin. It'll tally up the value and give you options on how you're going to pay. Sort of like you might have X amount of money in one bank account, X amount of money in another bank account. You've got to go to each bank, pull out the money, and then go buy your car or whatever. Your wallet's going to go, well, you've got X amount of value over in that wallet, X amount of value in that wallet, so on and so forth. And this is how we can pull that number together for you. And it'll give you a slider as to which one is going to take the lead or whichever. You could change the mixture. And all you have to do is send the value. You mean the base everything app? I don't know if it can do that. But that would be a feature that I'd be looking for in the future. Now, not necessarily so. But would I build it now and put it out there now? I probably would. So that you get used to it. Just so that you get used to it. Like I said, you're gonna see volatility on things until things start to even off. That's pretty much how it's gonna be. Think about it, 5-10 years from now, are you really going to see the volatility that you see now? 10 years from now, everybody's going to be using crypto. If you believe everybody's going to be using crypto, you just put a year on it and you kind of go, well, if everybody's using crypto by that point, the volatility is gone, right? The volatility is also not based on a single country, right? Things start to even out. This fiat versus that fiat. That's not going to be a thing. It wouldn't even be this coin versus that coin. It'll just be, oh, we'll use this coin for that. I use that coin for this. And that's the way the world goes. Keep it moving. The digital euro is coming, but I could care less about the digital euro. It is what it is. Digital euro is truly a CBDC. Nobody's going to care about it. That's what I'm saying. At some point, fiat's going to fail. That's my point. Old money can't stand not having control. You're absolutely right. Jay Clayton, I'm sorry. And this maybe. CBDCs are not going to be further down the line. Stablecoins are going to act like CBDCs. Certain countries will leverage stablecoins more than CBDCs. The euro, they want their own CBDC, but the United States, right now, is going the choice of we'll just regulate stablecoins and we'll make them work like CBDCs. But when you have crypto being so prevalent, you know what it feels like? Feels like Windows when it first came out. Eons ago, when Windows first came out. It was crappy. It wasn't all that. What they do, they gave you games, made it easy for you to learn how to use Windows. Gave you games to use the mouse. Next thing you know, everybody's using the mouse. Now, everything's Windows, right? Or some kind of visual operating system that's easy for you to use, whether it be Windows or Apple or whatever. It doesn't matter. They're all visual now. They're all easy to use because you've been trained. I think crypto is going to do the same thing. Right now, we're looking at the birth of, in terms of broad exception, and then 5-10 years from now, it'll be so ubiquitous that you'll be wondering how did we survive without it before? That's what I mean. I think CBDs fail when they get here. I think they fail before they get here. I think the U.S. taking a stablecoin route is smarter because it gives them a little bit more life. But I think stablecoins are CBDC. With the Genius Act, I think stablecoins become CBDCs, right? A rose by a different name is still a rose, that kind of thing. They'll be forced upon majorities for a short period of time. But if I don't need a stable coin, I won't use a stable coin. I'll say it again. If I don't need a stable coin, I won't use a stable coin. Stable coins are tied to fiat. Not really something anybody cares about. I feel like I'm missing people. I love when people try to talk like they know exactly what's going to happen. I'm saying that there are different paths that could happen in the future, and I'm putting odds on each one of those paths. I think the odds are high that stablecoins fail because the underlying fiat fails. Which one is going to wind up being the denominator? Anybody's guess. Do I think it's going to be Bitcoin? I don't think so. I don't think Bitcoin is the coin that's going to rule them all. Hey, A-Pause. Yes, definitely. You know what it is? I think the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is because people don't tend to look down the road of what could happen, what the possibilities could be. So if you open up your brain a little bit, and that means that you take a step back, slow down a little bit, take a step back, right? Every now and then, just take a step back and kind of just think like where things are lining up, how they could be, how they could play out. The US dollar dropped 10% this year, give or take, right? How many other fiat suffered a loss like that this year? See where I'm going? And then when you think of stable coins and their underlying fiat and how that's going to be tied to banks and how people don't want to be at banks, you start to realize, holy crap, that it is a viable option that stable coins fail the same way fiat can fail. Think of the year 1999, housing and market boom, and then incredible bust, right? Think of 2008. The majorities will move away from CBDCs if there are too many restrictions. I think people move away from CBDCs because they don't want to have anything to do with banks. I think that's where the disconnect lies for governments around the world. Sure, you have a stable coin. That's cute. You're tied to a fiat. That's cute. Why are stable coins here? Or actually, not even stable coins. Why is crypto here? Because nobody trusts the banking system. We don't have to use stable coins to make transfers and things like that. We just swap them instead of buying them. It'll cost you a little bit more, maybe. Right? I think swapping is going to be the way of the future. Hutanik, how many times are you going to say the same thing over and over and over and over again? You keep thinking Bitcoin is going to be the anchor for everything, or it's going to be the denominator for everything, or it's going to be the end all for everything. I don't think so. It's not built for that. I don't think there's going to be a single coin to rule them all. You'll have to prove that to me, and I don't think you can do it. You're a smart guy. I don't think you could do it. Everybody right now is thinking, oh, well, Bitcoin, 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 but Ethereum. Bitcoin, 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 but let's go get some more Ethereum. Ethereum. Well, let's go get some more BNB. I'll watch. You believe one thing, I believe something else. That's what makes the world go around. But saying the same thing 50 million times, it's not going to work. Bitcoin has a good opportunity to be something, but I think that at the end of the day, there are too many coins that lend themselves to varying use cases that make it difficult for a single coin to rule them all. That's my point. Lex Luthor, I think, I don't know what you're smoking, but I hope it really is good, because you should be looking at BNB. Right now it's at 783. It's about $21 off its all-time high of 804 that it hit this week. BNB and Ethereum and a couple others, those are the backbone of Web3. They were absolutely the backbone of Web3. So when I look at, Hutanik, you'll really get this. When I look at the possibility, because I used to think like you, everything is going to be based off of Bitcoin and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, not really, because I don't think Bitcoin can, I don't know that Bitcoin will level off enough for that to happen. It's not a transaction-based coin. You know what I mean? I think transaction-based coins wind up leveling off in the future. They will have less volatility in the future. Look at all the fiat around the world. They used to be crazy, volatility, and then they level off. I think that's what's going to wind up happening. So it'll be easier for these other ones, so that when they level off, it's easy to use them as a denominator. It will also depend on what's the pair that you're talking about. Some coins don't pair, some coins do. That's also going to play a factor. What coins pair and what coins don't. Not everything pairs to Bitcoin, not everything pairs to, Ethereum. And that's what makes the connective tissue a big deal. So we'll see. You think the banks will use some of the CBDC to represent the current fiat? That's exactly what it's meant for. Then exchanges into Bitcoin and Ethereum as the base value. No, I think there'll be several coins that will be used as base value. I think that when you look at products, you'll probably see like the top 3 coins in price. Now, what will those coins be? I could easily see Bitcoin, obviously, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, anything that's transaction based, meaning it's built for transaction. Anything that's built for the transmission of value quickly, you'll see that price. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think all the coins that don't have actual use cases go away fast. You don't need an anchor or a North Star. I hear what you're saying, but you don't need an anchor or North Star. That's the point that you're missing. There doesn't have to be only one. That's my point. They're all different. They all do different things, right? This coin is great for doing these kinds of things. That's how its network was built out. This coin is great for doing these kinds of things. That's how its network was built out. And you'll start to see how that works. Interoperability is going to be a big deal, Jay Shelton, but we're talking about how do we calculate value. And I don't think that there's going to be a single thing. I think there's going to be an app when you pop open your wallet. I think a ubiquitous feature is going to be, I can tell you how much that item is based on the fiat based on the coin that's in your wallet. You've got some Ethereum, you've got some of this coin, some of that coin, and it'll wind up getting to a point where it's not going to matter what coins they accept, because when you go to pay, a swap service will handle it for them. Sort of like when you look at credit cards that are flipping from your crypto to fiat to the store. They're pulling from your crypto to pay that store in fiat. They're handling that swap on the fly for you. I think it's going to wind up being like that. That's the only reason why I say there doesn't have to be a single anchor. I think based on what's in your wallet, it'll tell you how much you have. It'll tell you the fastest route for payment, the cheapest route for payment, because you still got to pay network fees. That app will wind up telling you all that, and it'll be a feature that everybody has. Ding, because maybe I accept, Stacks, Ripple, Hutanic accepts Bitcoin and Cardano. This other store accepts this, that, the other. It's not going to matter. There'll be a swap service that'll handle it. And the more transactions that happen, the less it will cost, because they want that interoperability. Swap service will still cost you something, but it'll probably cost less than the taxes you pay or the credit card fees you pay. Ta-da! Remember, we're moving to a world where the credit card fees are no longer going to be borne by the store. The fees are going to move back over to the customer. You will pay those fees. That store will get all of their money. Hello, Go Fatima. Have you invested in yourself today? And yes, less volatility. I think as we move forward, we'll start to see less volatility. I mean, think about it like this. If you look at Forex, foreign exchange, where you're trading fiat against fiat, you start to see that there starts to become less volatility depending on the swap between the two fiat. I think that's what's going to wind up happening. So, yeah. Now, you know why I keep telling everybody, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Today, we're just taking time out to kind of say, well, what Hutanic, for instance, is saying could happen. What are the odds? What Eddie is saying could happen. What are the odds? There's like a 50-50 chance. Here's the truth. Mine probably has more probability given how you pay for things. I don't need a single denominator. I need a denominator that I will understand. In other countries, the thing that moves, like overseas, Doge gets used, Shiba Inu gets used, XRP gets used. In other countries, other coins get used. It's just in the United States, in different countries, sometimes they sit in a little bubble and they think, oh, it's going to be this. Now you know why I think it's not going to be a single anchor. Bitcoin is going to be too big and is going to be used for too different of a thing. So I don't know. But I can easily see how that app could work. So Bebo, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. You have to do your own research on that. You would absolutely have to do your own research on that. I have no idea about what your bags look like or anything else like that. And I don't none of us give out financial advice. So would none of us be able to answer that question legally. Yes, this was a great day. Spent a lot of time investing in myself. That's what's up. Is anyone working on this app to do the calculations? Yes. Next question. Most apps already do it in a way. It's just not a prevalent feature. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. You can literally look to your app to see how much does this coin translate to that coin. But like being able to walk over to a QR code and go boop. Okay, which one of my coins? All right, I'll pay with this one. Ding. Because at the end of the day, I think it's going to wind up being, well, how much is it going to cost for me to buy that particular item with which coin? Which one is going to cost me less to use? The price of money is what it's called. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So when I look at the market right now, I'm kind of like, Bitcoin's at 117. I'd sprinkle into that. Ethereum is on the move. I would sprinkle into Ethereum. And people might say, but it's so high right now. I'd sprinkle into Ethereum because there are so many, institutions and things moving toward Ethereum. No, you're gonna walk into a store and it'll be normal. You'll be able to zap it. You'll be able to do different things. It'll be normal. It will be normal. You'll have translation apps or whatever. There are different ways that you'll be able to figure it out. Where else? I'd sprinkle into XRP for sure. I'd sprinkle into BNB. I should actually take you guys with me when I'm doing this. So let's do that. All right. So, because like Hutanik said, sprinklers on. For me, sprinklers on. So Bitcoin, obviously. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, BNB, obvious. Solana, I'm not touching. I just got out of Solana completely. Now, there are a lot of people that are sitting back and going, oh, but you could have made money off of that. Like, yeah, I could have. I could have gotten back in. I sold at 189 and 190 in between there. Actually, between 189 and 191, right? So call it 190. I could have gotten back in when it dipped all the way down to 176. I had no reason to do anything with Solana. I don't trust it anymore, so I'm not buying it. I made money off of it. I'm good. I'm done. I stuck my toe in other things. Doge, if you're into it, I see no reason not to. But I do pay attention to that, to this right here, that year to date is down. It's negative right now. So that's something I'm paying attention to. Cardano is definitely one that I would dip into. Hyperliquid is another one. Sui, Stellar. I mean, has anybody watched Stellar just shoot up the list? Damn. Yeah. Stellar's been a sleeper. Just out of nowhere, just slapping the snot at a lot of different projects. Who'd have thought? Remember, in other countries, Stellar is a huge way of sending money back home. Chainlink's another one. Bitcoin Cash is another one. Hedera, Avalanche, Litecoin. I just dropped an article about Litecoin. I still haven't done any research on Leo, so I can't tell you about that. Shiba Inu, I'd probably dip into. But again, this is another one where, year to date sucks. But when everything picks up, I think Shiba Inu is going to be big. So I'm just waiting. I'm just sitting back and waiting. I'm deep in the black on Shiba Inu, so I really don't care. I mean, I care, but I'm not worried. Toncoin is another one that can surprise. Monero's another one I'd get involved in. For S&Gs or shits and giggles, you could do Pepe if you want to earn some money. Aave is going to wind up being big. It's huge in DeFi. BitTensor, I haven't done enough research, so I'm not really in love with it or anything like that. Near Protocol has been inching up. I don't think a lot of people have been paying attention to that. I've got a little bit of near. Let's see. Highest profit would have been at 204. Excuse me. If I redeployed right now, I'm buying back more native tokens, waiting till Saturday. Yeah, that's tomorrow, man. Babel currently holding a bag of pump token. I would never. I would never. And that court case, no, I don't think it's going to get dismissed. I think the best thing you could hope for that is they cut a deal. And if they cut a deal, I still wonder if it goes, public. If the government goes after them, I'm not even. Ondo's another one I dip into. Aptos, I've already dipped into it. Would I dip some more? No. But am I happy with what I have? Yes. Bonk for shits and giggles. I think Pole is another one that people could be sleeping on. Algo is definitely one that people can be sleeping on, but I'm not putting any money into either Pole or Algo. It's just not happening for me. Arbitrum needs to wake up from the dead. Can it? Yes. It's still a platform that a lot of people build on. VeChain is making moves. Render, I don't know. Psy, don't know. Cosmos, right now, don't know. And so when I say don't know, it's because I've gone through a list of other coins all the way up here that are already in a space that they occupy. And do I really need that? And in some cases, I'm choosing the first, second, and third in that particular space. The only one that I haven't done is an Oracle because everybody knows I'm a Chainlink guy. And so with Chainlink, everybody's a distant number 2, 3, 4, whatever the heck you are. So what are you going to do? Yo, Mr. Big, what's good? Oh, you think you bought when the bottom is in? I don't think the bottom is in, man. I don't think the bottom is in. That's my point. Hutanic, thank you, man. Appreciate it. 9,000 more to go. We got to get to that 25,000. We've got to get to that 25,000. Filecoin is interesting. It's part of DPINs, the whole file transfer thing. So that could be something to be interested in. I could do some research on that. Them and Arweave. Artificial superintelligence at some point, I think that's going to blow up. Jupiter, I have no reason to be interested in Jupiter. It's tied to, what's that thing? Solana. So I have no interest. Flare, I used to have interest way back. I don't have any anymore. Quant, I've never had interest. Although, look at these numbers. Quant's not doing bad. Just saying. Celestia, I've never had interest in Celestia. Somebody else was talking about Celestia. That's the only reason why I've spoken about it. But down 52% for the year. And I haven't seen it really blow up. I can live without it. XDC network is starting to move. Remember, Quant and XDC, what are they? ISO 222. There's still a lot of people that believe in that move. And could it do something? Maybe, maybe not, but I don't know. Jay Shelton, you've got a bag of TIA? I couldn't get into it, man. Somebody told me about it, ages ago, and I just wasn't anything I was interested in. I don't know why. The research didn't tell me that I should be interested in it. It didn't say, oh, you should make a slot for this. And if you look at the numbers right now, I'm making more money up there with my large caps than I am down here. So yeah, no, I have no interest. Optimism used to be hot. Now look at that. That's that right there. That's a no bueno. I think Optimism has problems. I think that there are meme coins that are going to do well for an extended period of time, but I think most memes go away because they don't really have a purpose. Examples of that, of course, Floki, Dog with Hat. Immutable, I think something happens with Immutable only because I think games are going to come back. Lido, you buy that because of DeFi, that kind of thing, but it's up to you. Like I said, do your own research. I'm just telling you how I feel about coins. Pancake Swap, I've never been moved by PancakeSwap. Paxos is something I've got a little bag of. If you want gold, if you're into that kind of thing, it's slow and steady wins the race. But I mean, look at the year to date, 27%. Where else did you make 27%? Just saying. But it hasn't done anything since. You know what I mean? But it's one of those, you buy it, you hold it. If I'm going to buy something and hold something, why wouldn't it be Bitcoin? I mean, you could do both. But for me, probably Bitcoin. Tezos, I have zero interest. IOTA is another one of those, ISO 222 coins. Obviously, this is one that has not been doing well. Radium was doing well, and then Pump.Fund left, and then, pew, pew, pew. So, yeah, nah. Gala Gaming, but they basically brought on themselves a problem. So there was no issue with it. Notice how we're below $1 billion. We're at 95 and we're below $1 billion. Just saying. If he made amends with Muskrat, no, I can't even. You know what? Go stand in the corner. I'm not talking to you anymore. I've read that too, and I've also read that people with overly diversified portfolios have done well. They just do well at different points. Like I said, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Now, that's not to say that I maintain a whole slew of freaking coins. I don't. And the reason why is because I've got coins, stocks, options, bonds, businesses, real estate. So I'm diversified like that. I don't need to get overly diversified in each one of those areas. That's too much work. I ain't got that kind of time. I don't even have that kind of patience. So check that out. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Hutanic, thank you for the congratulations on 16,000 subscribers. We're trying to work hard to get more. We've got more stuff going on. If you like what I'm doing, smash the likes, tell your friends about us. We have different conversations here. And there are a lot of people here with really good, valid points. I'm probably always going to choose the argument against your point, no matter what that point is. If Hutanic would have agreed with me, I would have found a way to switch sides to go against that point. Why? Because we don't do echo chambers in here. We don't do that. We absolutely don't do that. We want you to stop and think about self. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. You can only do that if you're not in a damn echo chamber. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, hope you have a great night. I'm going to go celebrate. Everybody have a good one, and thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience, and absolutely thank you for your trust. Everybody, thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.